Hi guys, how are you doing today? All right, so we're going to be talking about natural therapies for menstrual cramps and what you can do about them. All right, let me just get my phone set over here. Okay, so please, if you have any questions during today's little class, go ahead and ask them in the comments. And I'd also like to know, do you experience cramps? Is this something that you've been experiencing for a long time? And what has worked for you when it comes to helping to remedy your menstrual cramps? Okay, so first of all, this is something that is extremely common. And I think a lot of women, we grew up having menstrual cramps and thinking this is just part of our monthly cycle. This is just what we have to deal with. This is life, right? And I personally don't like that. I don't like that we have to put up with pain every single month. And that's considered normal, and that there's no solutions for us besides, or at least we thought there's no solutions for us besides using over-the-counter painkillers. And while those are such blessings, they are not without their own issues. So 30% of women have called into work sick because of how bad their menstrual cramps are. 60% of women have called in sick and not told their work why they were calling in sick. They give a different reason than menstrual cramps. So this is something that's very real. And I want nothing more than for women to be empowered and to have solutions to these types of things and not just grin and bear it. Okay. So here's what's happening when we're experiencing menstrual cramps. What's happening in the body. So menstrual cramps, when someone is having very bad menstrual cramps, they have high levels of prostaglandin F2 alpha in their system. And what that does is it makes the uterus contract. So someone who is having menstrual cramps has 7 times the amount of that in their blood and in their system than someone who is not experiencing menstrual cramps. That is something that's triggered once progesterone drops in the monthly cycle. Once the body's like, oh, we're not pregnant, let's start shedding the lining. As soon as the progesterone drops, the prostaglandins are released in the system. It's not known why some women produce more prostaglandins than other women. I have my own theories about that, but let's just go ahead and jump right to the solutions. So there's going to be things that you can do that are considered acute, that you can do like in the moment. If you're experiencing cramps, here's what you do. And there are some things that you can do to kind of throughout the month and prepare ahead of time so that you're not experiencing such bad cramps over the next time and the next time, the next time. So like long-term solution, right? So the first is we've got 2 different things that is happening. We've got the uterine cramping, and then we've got the inflammation occurring. So for inflammation, especially like right before your period, if you can reduce refined carbs, reduce your dairy intake, and reduce your sugar intake, that's going to help to reduce inflammation. Also, reducing red meat consumption to less than 2 times a week for this purpose. I'm not saying that eating red meat is bad. It's definitely beneficial for some, but when it comes to the prostaglandins, the inflammation, and the pain, we have found that reducing red meat consumption can actually make a pretty big difference. And then increasing the amount of fresh vegetables and fruits and everything that you're eating. So now for the acute approach, this is best to be done if you can before your period starts, at least a couple hours before your period is due. So like if you can start this the day before, you kind of feel achy, you start getting your PMS, and we'll talk about that later this week. That's kind of a sign things are about to start. If you can start this a little bit ahead of time, you're going to stay ahead of the prostaglandin release, and your cramps, it's going to be a different experience for you. Okay, so here are the things. Here's all the things. So first of all, relaxing herbs. Herbs such as cramp bark, black haw, dogwood. These are all herbs that are relaxing and tonifying to the uterine muscles, so it makes them relax. All of these are in a formula that I have called Utericalm that we use it's wonderful for cramping, but it's also wonderful for relaxing the uterus for implantation. So that is a product you could start using after ovulation and just continue that. So if you're pregnant, then your uterus is very receptive and very calm. If you end up not being pregnant that cycle, you can just take it a little longer into your menstrual cycle, into your period, and it's going to have that calming effect. I also love to use essential oils for this. There's a blend called Dragon Time Blend, and what it does is it aids in reducing muscle spasms. It helps to reduce inflammation, and it's also extremely calming to the nervous system. The way you would use this blend is you would use 1 drop of essential oil blend to 1 drop of carrier oil, and you do it in that ratio. You're going to need a couple more drops than that, and you would apply it to your lower abdomen. And then you could add a heat compress, so like a hot towel that you've heated with hot water, and place that, or a heating pad. That's going to be extremely comforting and helpful. The next thing's going to be CBD. So what CBD is it's a compound that's found in hemp. It does not contain THC, but this helps to reduce the inflammation, and it helps to inhibit the prostaglandin release. So you're not going to have 7 times the amount of prostaglandins in your system. I'm simplifying all of this for you, of course. So that's pretty amazing. So this has been shown through studies to actually work just as well as over-the-counter painkillers, such as like Tylenol and ibuprofen, all that kind of stuff. It also has anti-inflammatory benefits and vascular relaxing, which means it's going to cause the smooth muscles of the uterus to relax. So there's a lot of different benefits to using CBD. You can use that as drops internally, or I like to do both. So you use drops internally, and then you would use drops, mix it with the Dragontyne blend, and apply that to the lower abdomen a couple of times throughout the day, using that heat compress if needed. Those are both things that you can also take with you to work when you're out and about. You can make yourself a little mix with that and apply that to the lower abdomen. Now, that's for acute, that's in the moment. But if we want to kind of really have this not be part of your monthly cycle, not be something that's regular for you, you're going to want to work on this as one of your things that you're working on through the month. The first is to help to tonify and increase circulation to the uterus. So that, I believe, is best done through self-fertility massage. So that's something that you would do the first 2 weeks of your cycle, to help to increase circulation and relax the uterus. Also, using that blend I talked about, Dragontyne blend, using that during your period, and also using something that I've created called Drop Cycle Method. So this is a hormonal support system where you're using essential oils during different parts of your cycle. There's 4 different protocols, and you're using these essential oils with acupressure and reflexology points. And what that's doing is that's helping to sync your monthly cycle. It's helping with hormonal balance, and it's also helping to protect your body from endocrine disruptors and xenohormones through the use of essential oils. And because of this, and because of this whole cycle, the hormonal balance, all of that, then you're able to have less cramps and less issues such as PMS. I'll talk a little bit more about that later this week. So you would then begin Dragontyne blend and CBD before your cycle comes, a day or 2 before your cycle comes, that next cycle, and looking at some of those dietary changes to reduce inflammation. So I hope you guys found that helpful. Those are the things that I found to be the most beneficial when it comes to reducing period cramps. If you have any questions, I will stay on to answer them. And also share what has worked for you, if something's worked for you besides over-the-counter painkillers. Gabby says, perfect timing. Is that, let me see what happens. Oh, cool. When I click that, okay. I'm currently dealing with this. I have PCOS, and yes. Naturally, Nikki, I'm so glad I found your channel. My periods are getting worse and worse each month, and I was feeling at a loss. I know I have ovarian cysts and fibroids, but with COVID, I have no idea how to do. Reach out to me. I can definitely help you for sure. I've never had a period pains, but my gosh, I get ovulation cramps that are so painful. That's an actual thing. Just so you know, you're not the only one going through that. I have spoken with many women who get spotting, they get bright red spotting, or they have serious pain during ovulation. That is something that could also be benefited from CBDs and can be benefited possibly from reducing inflammation. Yeah, it's so painful. I've experienced that as well. It's like you're laying an egg. Your ovary, right? You get reflexology. That's great. And Preti gets dull cramps mid-cycle, but no cramps during your actual period. So that could be various different reasons for getting cramps mid-cycle. Generally, when things are happening like spotting or cramping or things kind of out of place in the monthly cycle, I would look at hormonal imbalance as a possibility. And why are prostaglandins being released then? Could it be low progesterone, and so on? So, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining me for today's topic. I hope you found these helpful. If you want to know where to find these products, reach out to me and I can get you links. And I hope you have a good rest of your day.